So welcome everyone to ProCon's JCC Excellence Showcase. My name is Angela Tranquil and I am the Marketing Administrator at JCC Association of North America. This afternoon's JCC Excellence Showcase is the Avodah Cohort Experience presented by the Jewish Community Center of Austin. This session is being recorded. We understand that some people do not wish to be recorded, in which case you may turn off your camera, though we encourage everyone who is comfortable doing so to stay visible so we can feel as if we are all together. We received an outpouring of submissions for Showcase, and while there was limited space at ProCon for presentations, we will share a post-conference digital library of all the submissions. Please note, we will be holding a Q&A at the end of the session, and you can write your comments and questions in the chat, and we will address them at that time. Now, without further ado, I am delighted to welcome today's presenters from the Jewish Community Center of Austin. We have Rachel Stern, who is the Chief Learning and Engagement Officer, Jessica Ochs, who is the Youth and Teen Director, and Carly Karten, the Development Coordinator. So I don't know about you, but I'm so excited for this session, and I will hand it over to our presenters at this time. Enjoy the session.
Thanks, Angela, and thanks for all of you fellow Zoom zombies for joining us today. Angela gave us our beautiful introductions, but I want to just give us a little bit more context. So Jessica and I are the co-facilitators for ACE, and we invited Carly to be our ACE graduate. She was in the first Avodah Cohort Experience graduating class. And with no further ado, we're going to introduce you to ACE. Robin, can you pull up our slides? Awesome. So we are so excited to share with you ACE, the Avodah Cohort Experience. In my former job, I worked for an organization that had a fellowship. So we worked with people right out of college. And it occurred to me that we provided just unbelievable training for this group of people right off the bat. Then I came to Shalom Austin and we had all of these new professionals in all of our departments, but we really didn't have that kind of concentrated professional development opportunity for them. But yet they were in these really important positions for our organization. I grabbed my colleague Jessica and shared with her. Jessica, in her role as the Youth and Teen Director and overseeing our camp program, works with many new professionals, this group of people. And just like that, I shared the idea and we were up and running. So a little bit about ACE. So what is ACE? ACE is a professional development for new professionals. We define them as new into the workforce a couple of years in. It includes staff from all over our department. So whether they're our seasonal employees, our part-time, our full-time, whether they're fitness, development, education, it's a year-long program. We really carve out a year-long program for us to come together and learn. It's led by facilitators, but we also bring in a variety of guest speakers that really expand upon the learning. And a really important part, which Jessica is going to expand upon, is that we have a mentor for each of our ACERs. So the philosophy behind this, I like to compare it to kind of planting something in a garden. So we think a lot about the seed and what's going to happen when we nurture something so much before it even enters the space. We think about the sunlight, we think about the setting, we think about the kind of nourishment, we think about what's surrounding it. And then of course, if we do all of these things right, it blossoms into something beautiful. So we really need to be thinking about that with our newest group of professionals. So we've seen this benefit of investing in people right out of school. We do it in fellowships and internships. So we need to do it for people that are entering the field, but are not necessarily in those kinds of programs. We do very little to really historically support our new professionals, and we really wanted to turn that around. A major factor in staff retention, which is a goal for all of us, is investing in our staff. And that's all of our staff, not just our upper level staff. You know, back to our Jewish values that we're told to welcome our newcomers, and that should start with our newcomers on our team. And really, when we think about a JCC, there's so many different components of the organization, and our staff don't really have the chance to know each other. But this organization, this program really created a way for that to happen.
Okay, so a little bit about the bones of what ACE is. We chose monthly meetings. We found that that was very effective. We thought that 2 hours was more than enough time to kind of come and come together, have a guest speaker, talk about the topic, and then at the end of it, I'll go into that a little bit later. For us, we included lunch as a perk, but of course you can just brown bag it, or you can do it in the afternoon and just provide snacks. Our sessions were 10 sessions, 8 sessions, which is a combination of work and life skills, plus 2 social gatherings. One was just the ACERs and Rachel and myself. And then the last one was including mentors. The first year we went to karaoke. It was awesome. And then at the end, we did a closing ceremony in front of the whole organization to really applaud our ACERs and to show their accomplishments to the rest of the organization. The other part of this is that our ACERs with their mentors met monthly. They determined when and where and for how long. And I'll go into a little bit more about what the actual mentor program was later. So here's how we laid out our sessions. First, a little bit of mingle, get settled. Then we always did a set induction. We had a body of the session, guest speakers, some activities. Of course, we ate lunch. And then at the wrap up, it was always just the ACERs. What I want to stress is that ACE was really just for ACERs. We wanted to create a really safe space for these new professionals to come in and learn and ask questions and ask challenges. A lot of the rest of the organization were really interested in a lot of the topics that we brought to the table. So this led to something called Training Tuesday that Rachel will speak about later. But we were really, really intentional of making this just for our new professionals in the Jewish professional field. And it went really well. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what our sessions were. We're going to kind of do a quick round robin. So the first one, of course, was just an informational meeting and mixer. We met the cohort, the mentor, and as a group, we set up goals for our program. Everything that we did in ACE was to model how you should, be in your professional life. So of course, setting goals together as a group is just a major part of that. All right, our first one, Carly.
All right, Schmoozapalooza. This is where we met each other and got to know each other better. And we worked on doing an elevator pitch for our job.
Communication, this takes it to a different level. So all of the different kinds of communication that make up an organization, the way that we write, the way that we speak to each other in meetings, understanding branding. And then of course, in a job as a new professional, you're giving and receiving feedback. So the communication that kind of frames that. We brought in our head of marketing, and the really cool activity that we did is we handed everybody a random object and they had to create a brand for that object.
Jewish Nonprofit 101. This was definitely a highlight with our ACERs, with myself, and with the rest of the organization. A lot of people that start in this profession maybe know a little bit about nonprofit, maybe know a little bit about Jewish, and marrying them together, it's a very special thing. And so we really wanted to show our ACERs what is so awesome about working for a Jewish nonprofit and really how it works. So the first year it was our CEO and board chair, and it gave these new professionals direct access to CEO and board chair. So it was really wonderful that these two people took time out of their day to really acknowledge that our new professionals are very special. And then the next year we invited the CEO of Texas Hillel to come join us. So they got to see different types of Jewish nonprofits in the area. It was really wonderful.
For professionalism, we talked about different case studies, performance issues, different types of meetings, careers, and really, where we see ourselves in 5 years and work-life fit.
Budget and finance, super fun, and also something that's intimidating if you don't know what that means. So we really took a look at what it means to be a tax-exempt organization. We wanted people to understand how financial decisions are made of the organization. And we also recognize that these are people that are starting out in their professional lives. So we wanted to give some tips for their good personal financial habits, especially when they're starting to think about retirement right off the bat. We brought in our CFO, and then they had to come up with a sample budget for a program or activity.
Project management. As we all know, the life of a JCC professional or Jewish professional is very, very cyclical. So really, we all get to see inception of projects, execution, and then of course, at the end, debriefing and evaluating. So this was a really interesting way to get all of our ACERs kind of thinking in that mindset. And this is when we started talking about our ACE project. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. Our ACE project was just here to enhance the life of somebody working in the Jewish nonprofit world. It was very low bearing. It wasn't meant to put extra stress or anything. And this is where we kind of started and talked and fleshed out all of their ideas.
For conflict resolution, we did some role playing with different tough situations with our members, lay leaders, coworkers, and the director of Jewish Family Service was our speaker.
And finally, we wrapped it up with the ever so easy political savvy. So we really wanted to talk about advocacy. Can you imagine this day and age with cancel culture explaining that to a new group of professionals as they navigate their way through the workforce? We wanted people to be able to share the things that were important to them, but while not compromising the roles that they had in their organizations. It was really important for them to have that space to ask those questions and to really see this kind of new role that they would be playing. And then we assigned issues of advocacy to the small groups, and we had them practice, the activity of persuading other people, making sure that advocacy is keeping the door open.
Okay, mentors. So our mentors are another seasoned professional from another department. So we were very purposeful and intentional when pairing mentors and mentees. I want to mention that this person does not serve in a supervisory capacity. So they're a support, a cheerleader, somebody there to bounce ideas off of, whether it's professional or, how to make your work life, I don't like to use the word balance, but work life fit. And it continued to build community within our larger staff team. Because like what Rachel said before, most JCCs are massive. And, maybe if you work at camp, you don't talk to the people in fitness and vice versa. So this is a really good chance for some of our seasoned professionals to get to know some of our brand new professionals. Great, that's it about mentors. So challenges, of course, the first one is finding coverage for our hourly and shift employees. But when speaking with our supervisors, as long as you get the buy-in, then they're gonna be there and they're gonna find the coverage because they see the return on investment and how wonderful a program like this can be. For funding, for us, our big thing was the social events and lunch. But again, if funding, especially now in a COVID age, is a challenge, this is something that you can easily replicate without spending really anything. And I don't know about y'all, but deciding what to eat for lunch was always our biggest challenge, honestly. So just remember, it's all in the details. Like I said before, we model. So we send reminder emails, calendar invites. We made it really official. They all got name tags, they got folders. We had agendas for every session, evaluations at the end, and follow-up if people were missing. We really want to set the stage of what it is to be a professional and to be a Jewish professional in this world. So the devil's in the details.
All right, so Jessica touched on it just a little bit about the projects, but our guidelines really were to create something for our job or our team or staff members across the organization. So I decided to make an event setup checklist. We have a lot of different logistics on our campus, and it's really just hard to think of all of them. So I did a checklist of what is available and different options. Because it was something that I talked to multiple coworkers about and something that they really wanted. Another awesome project, they're all awesome, but one of the other projects was a camp magazine. And this was, for new camp staff that need the need to know information, making it in a super fun and cool way. Like how awesome is it to grab a magazine and like you're learning about your new job? Like that sounds like so much fun. Piggybacking off of the lunches as well, new professionals don't always have the opportunity to do lunch meetings. So this was really kind of fun to look forward to. Hey, I have lunch, and especially on Mondays. Our social gatherings, karaoke or happy hours, it was just really nice to be with a group of people that you trust and listen to you. It was just really nice. And we've actually, after the program, we used to, before COVID, go to happy hours together and just talk about everything that's going on in our lives. So it's like just a really great group of people. And it was, like I said, it was a safe place. It was really, you know, Jessica, Rachel, and then the rest of my peers in the group. And so it just really felt good to talk about maybe difficult situations and not have kind of any judgment. So that was really great. My mentor was really amazing. She's actually the JCC Sports and Fitness Director. So that's really different from development. And so we wouldn't really normally interact on a daily basis. But it was really cool that I got to see her, go in her office. I've always wanted to go there, just like doing something different. And, you know, for our graduation ceremony, it was really, you know, I felt very proud to be able to show my project off and to be able to show, you know, all the staff of the organization, like who we are, because we're newer professionals, we might not know everyone. Especially in our all staff meetings, we're all just kind of sitting there and you're like, well, maybe that's this person. And so it's really nice to, you know, be able to say your name and explain what you do. ACE was really an amazing program and it's taught me so much. And I'm really glad that I was able to participate.
You can see that Jessica and I are beaming with pride. I'm going to make Dave Hawks wave. We have another ACE graduate on. Dave Hawks, what? So we can see how amazing Carly is. These ACERs are now all over our building, feeling connected, feeling proud. So let's take a little look at our impact. So the impact, first and foremost, is staff retention. It's making people feel like they have a place, people are connected to them, they have friendships, they have information. We have informed and productive staff. So Jessica mentioned Training Tuesday. So for example, when Jessica was highlighting this Jewish Nonprofit 101 and people found out and were like, I don't really know about our board. I've never had an hour and a half uninterrupted time with our CEO. So there was this hunger throughout the organization for a really kind of robust professional development program. And from ACE, we created this program called Training Tuesday, which is an organizational-wide professional development program, which came because all of a sudden we were only investing in this group, but everybody else wanted to be included in the learning. It expanded, as we mentioned, to the second year. We opened it up to the other Jewish organizations within our local community, and that's really enhanced the program too. So this group of new professionals serving the Jewish organizations in our city are invested in each other, they know each other, and all of the things that they've learned, it impacts our entire city. And as Carly mentioned, lasting friendships and colleagues. So anytime Carly wants to go down the hall and find her mentor, she can do that. And those relationships, whether it's your peer, whether it's someone that's more seasoned in the organization, they're long lasting. That's our program. I think we're 18 minutes on the dot. We practiced. So we want to go ahead and open it up for question, answer, and thanks for coming and listening. And here's all of our contact information. If you're going to get all of these slides, we have a lot of written information for you, including the letters that we sent to supervisors, kind of the outlines of our session. So whatever we can do to help you bring this into your community, we're really excited to do it.
Wow, that was so impressive. Thank you, Rachel, Jessica, and Carly. At this time, if anyone has any questions, you can type them in the chat and I will read them out.
Great, so now you can all take it back to your organization and do it. It's actually super fun. I don't know, there's no questions coming in, so we can just talk. But it was really, you know, Rachel and I are educators. So this was a really good way for us to also flex our brand as educators and bringing other people in from the organization to present or to be mentors. It really just made a different layer of community here. And of course, we all work for Jewish community centers. And sometimes we're really good at building community outside of the organization and not so great at building it inside. So this is just another way and another tool, another vessel for us to really just create a community here. And like Rachel said, it went into Training Tuesday, and you know, a lot of other really great things came from just this small little program.
I think a lot of our speakers, I'm sorry.
We do have some questions coming in.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of our speakers, I'm sorry, Angela, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't want to cut you off.
You're good.
I don't want you to lose your train of thought. So we have one question that says, how do you anticipate expanding this beyond new professionals? And how often do you think you would repeat the ACE program?
So this program is really meant for new professionals. I will tell you that we had questions in our organization. So one of the side groups was a very specified supervisors training to kind of take people in supervisory roles and have like small cohorts of training. That was kind of a spinoff from this too. We're anticipating rolling this out every single year. So obviously with COVID, we've had a pause, but we're ready to pick up and like have a brand new group starting in the fall again.
Wonderful. And someone else asks, is this a program that you think can be adapted for COVID times or created as a hybrid model?
So we're all trying to figure out the conveniences of COVID. So when we opened it up to the other Jewish organizations, it definitely added this element of having people drive in. Austin is one of those like heavy traffic towns. So it's actually something that I think we'll think a lot about if we want to do things remotely. But there's major emphasis on the experience of the cohort. So I really do think something would be lost if they weren't in the room together. We also get them up. It has like a campy feeling to it. So I think that wouldn't translate super well virtually. It doesn't mean that we can't experiment with it or think about it, but it's definitely something to think about.
Good to know. Another comment as well as a question. What an amazing and impactful program. Tell us again when it launched and did it continue during the past year of the pandemic?
Jessica, you want to take this one?
Sure. So it launched fall of 2018. So it's kind of like a school year model. So it goes from September to May. So 2018 to 19, and then we started it again in the fall of 2019. We did hit pause during COVID. So we did not have a cohort during 2020 to 2021, but we're definitely going to have one again this fall.
Awesome. So it looks like that was all of our questions. I'll give a few moments because I don't want to miss anyone. Yael, is your hand raised?
My hand is raised. Hi, Rachel. It's nice to see you again. You too, Jessica. This sounds really an incredible program, especially for new professionals kind of digging their heels into what the Jewish movement can be for them. And I'm wondering, with the anticipation of, repeating this so frequently, how are you defining new professionals? And is the hiring at Shalom Austin so abundant that you have, enough new professionals every year to have truly a new cohort?
That's a great question. Rachel, do you want to take the beginning of it?
Well, it's one of the reasons that we expanded it to be throughout the entire community, because there were always going to be people. But even within our organization, there were always going to be welcome desk attendees. There were always going to be fitness desk attendees. There were always going to be people that were coming to be one of Jessica's seasonal, aftercare kids, aftercare staff person, or somebody from camp that really wanted this training. So there really was the volume of people for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm just going to expand on that a little bit. We had some camp staff come that don't work during the school year for Shalom Austin, and they're just here for the summer. And because one of the challenges we have in camp world is how do we build leadership, because we're only seeing each other for about 8 to 10 weeks. So this was a way to invest in our camp leadership as well. We defined a new professional as somebody who's been out of college age school for 0 to 3 years. Because we know that there's a difference from a new Jewish professional, somebody who is coming into the Jewish communal profession, but has 20 years of experience somewhere else. So this really, really is geared towards our younger crowd.
These are really great
Thank
questions. So we have another one comes in and says, how did you get buy-in from senior leadership for the program before you began?
So I'll just start with our CEO and then I'll expand to our whole senior executive team. So our CEO is also an educator. So when I went in and said like, hey, this is an opportunity to invest in our team and to really think about these new professionals, I don't even think I had to fully complete my sentence because he's a lifelong teacher and the rest of the senior executive team is as well. So to come in and say, you guys, I have an idea, and all of them had people that were participating in the program. So it was strong buy-in from our senior team. Professional development is something that we walk the talk the walk. So we didn't have to work too hard for it with our team.
That's always great to hear. And another question, what other professional development and educational opportunities does Shalom Austin support for its professionals?
Okay, so we have the ACE program. I can tell where that question was, so I'll end with Jessica. So we have our ACE program, and as I mentioned, it led to Training Tuesday. One of the things I want to say about Training Tuesday, and we can give you kind of the scaffolding for that too, we had swim coaches in the room with security guards, with senior executive team members, with people that worked in the fitness room, like all in the room learning together. So that was unbelievably special. Thanks a lot, COVID, but we're going to get back to it. And I think because we've created this real place where learning is now the norm, not kind of the afterthought, we have a lot of people on our team now participating in much more immersive programs such as
Spurtis Institute. Hello, Amy Bowers. Rachel Wimberly, who I think is on this call too, and I are part of the next cohort for our Master's in Jewish Professional Studies. And it's because of the support of Shalom Austin, of our direct supervisors and our senior leadership that we're able to really take the time to do some higher education and higher learning. There's also a small cohort of people who are taking a nonprofit certification course at University of Texas that is supported by this organization. Like Rachel said, we really, really do support professional development in all of its forms here. And something like ACE just kind of like started it, and we're really just running with it. So go check out Spurtis in the vendor hall.
And as I mentioned, we did a supervisors training. So that's something that we're re-implementing as well, where we grabbed small, and this is important to point out, I think it's really unique, small cohorts of supervisors that covered all of the different departments and had them in a very kind of immersive training as a smaller group.
Wow, you guys have to get an award for most questions answered in a 10-minute period.
We're good at it by now.
It looks like that was the end of our questions, and we're also unfortunately running out of time. I feel that at the end of every session, I'm always like, no, we need more time. But we thank you again, Rachel, Jessica, and Carly. For everyone, we just wanted you to know that a second set of JCC Excellence Showcase initiatives, totally different from those you've just seen, follows this session. So you can check out the full list of options in SpotMe to select the next session. Thanks for joining, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference.